For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to episode 123 of That's a Shame. I'm Isaac, and joining me as ever, it's Declan. How's it going, Declan? A loaded question.
Taking the piss.
We've been absent for a little while, haven't we? Well, a week to be specific. And as you pointed out, 2 Wednesdays have been missed.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go over why that is, because I think they're both my fault this time. I'm pretty sure they are.
Sure.
Yeah, I've been having all kinds of different health troubles. And anyway, I'm fine now, mostly. But I had like a bunch of things back to back. And the one that just, the icing on the cake, the cherry on top of the final stack of pancakes was a kidney stone. Which, oh God, I wish more people would make that reference. Let me tell you, because I feel like it's been lacking.
We can change it to the Always Sunny episode with Frank's kidney stone, if you prefer.
Sure, why not?
We can just talk about that.
They're quite popular in sitcoms, aren't they? Which would imply that it's somehow funny. And I'm here to say that it's not.
I think it's because it's a condition that you can readily attribute to some sort of moral defect.
And what are you suggesting here?
Look, I'm saying that it's not a lack of water.
No,
so
it's definitely not.
It's definitely
too
bad
much.
juju.
Too much curse.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I've been in and out of A&E for a few days, and then I went home to Canterbury to go and recover in my family's house. And now here I am, back stronger
like something
than ever.
out of a Bronte novel.
Yeah, I went to go and convalesce. There's better air down there. I had to go for little nature walks.
I have been awake for just an unfathomably large percentage of the last 50 hours. Doing
Loving
all
life.
sorts. No.
Oh.
No, it's the opposite.
Oh, I hate every minute of it.
So, I've decided,
Uh-huh.
well, I kind of decided on Tuesday,
Yeah.
but then we didn't do the show.
Yeah, that was our apology out of the way, by the way.
Yeah.
Because we are sorry.
Did you, hope you caught it?
I don't know if you know, but I was in excruciating pain, so I'm not that sorry.
I've decided that I was going to blast away the old blues by doing this little hair feature.
An annual task feature.
Because of you know, and your, supposed.
Yeah. You're so cold.
I've had to postpone that. So the blues have just been lingering very definitely. So hopefully this is it.
I think it will be.
Yeah.
We're talking, of course,
about the Bad Sex in Fiction Awards.
Oh, now you'll remember this time last year-ish.
We were chatting about that diabolical torso.
God, yeah. It was really very poor on so many levels.
And let me tell you, in every sense you could fathom, this year is worse.
That's good, because that's what I was kind of hoping would be the case.
But it's worse, including ways that you won't like. In that there's fewer bad metaphors.
Right.
And more just unnecessarily graphic.
Is it all bodily?
Oh, it's so bodily.
It would be. I knew it was going to be bodily.
It's got to be the viscera.
Well, Paul Joseph Watson, the philosopher, says that we're in a degenerate culture.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's the fault of the liberal media and the kind of, the snowflakes that pretty much run everything. Yeah, the so-called cucks who sit on their ivory. Well, not ivory, of course, because it's controversial to kill an elephant and rip its tusk off. Come on, give us a break.
No point even being the superior beast on the earth.
They sit on their vegan apex predator, I don't know, chaise longue.
Yeah.
And send down these diktats of, you've got to be nice to each other. Don't be rude to that black man.
Let's have more graphic sex
and
in
it's
literature.
Degenerate. And Paul is right to point it out. Thank you to Paul and his big map. And I look forward to seeing him vindicated once more by the BSFs.
Well, he does his best to counteract that with some truly cultured tweets and, of course, YouTube content.
Yeah. Well, because if you're rallying against the current affair, you're going to have to present an alternative.
And what that alternative is tweets from people you don't like read out in an artificially high-pitched voice.
Squeaky, and that's how you know it's good.
Yeah, and that's
because not everyone knows what the button is that you use to do that.
Essentially, I think that is you know, you don't like to just throw these sorts of terms around, but that is essentially the modern day dialectics, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
I had to
there you
just
go.
check because I don't want to
Again,
tie my horse
like I
to
say,
the
you don't want to
incorrect
just
wagon.
throw that sort of thing around.
Yeah, but basically you can trace a direct line between, you know, the kind of Michelangelo's, the Renaissance thinkers,
And before them, the great
Plato,
philosophers, yeah.
Christ, really.
back before Plato.
Back before, God, he's old. Let me tell you. Get
He had
him on a
tr-
bit.
He practically climbed up on
What
that cross
about-
himself.
What about, you know, Tumblr's big porn ban?
Oh, what?
Have you
You
seen
mean the
the
end
amount-
of Tumblr?
Yeah. Have you seen the amount of Jesuses that are being taken down by their robots? It's just Jesus on the cross on these like hyper-religious conservative blogs
That's so
that are being
funny.
flagged as pornographic.
Well, they are. He's sexy as hell.
Hell of abs.
That Jesus, do what he wants with me.
Hmm.
I'll tell you.
Take you to the next life.
Yeah, not the real Jesus.
Oh.
What he would have looked like.
But you mean because he'd probably have been like, well, there wasn't a great hygiene back in those days.
No, short,
Anything else you care to mention?
religious.
Zealot.
You know, just generally.
Yeah.
One doesn't like to quibble.
No.
So yes, we're back with 7 new extracts from novels released this year.
Is it always novels?
I believe so.
It can't be like a short story.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But
Because
I could be wrong
think
there.
my hot take of the day is that short stories, if they include sex, it's always bad.
Well, it is because it also by default is a greater percentage of the overall,
Yeah.
and therefore it sticks with you more.
Uh-huh.
No pun
And
intended.
people feel like whenever it's the same reason that all internet poetry is often bad, because they feel like if it's a short medium, they need to like cram in as many of their skills as possible.
You've got to get, if you haven't got at least some enjambment,
Yeah.
as they like to say in the trade,
Yeah.
maybe a lacuna, some
why not?
caesurae.
Keep it coming.
They love those in
Yeah.
there.
'Cause otherwise it's not. You can't read it otherwise, I think.
No, well, you shouldn't. You
I won't.
physically.
Yeah.
But well done.
Well oughtn't.
Yes, so we've got 7 extracts by some unknowns
Yep.
to me at least, such as William Wall. Ever heard of William Wall?
Wally.
All the way up to the great. Wow,
He's writing smut. He came back to Earth with that sexy apple bot and a big plant.
Imagine if Wally was writing
Wally.
like
Cockroach.
They've come down
Uh-huh.
from space. They've rehabilitated and
They've moved all those
repopulated Earth.
cubes out of the way that you
Yeah,
put
they've
around.
built. They've got that one tree going, and it's
and-
huge. But then, obviously, inevitably, they end up striking up some sort of capitalist system, and he's just cast aside. And this is
a
how
lot
he's
of time
got.
on his hands.
This is how he's got to.
He takes out Hello Dolly, puts in Debbie Does Dallas.
So yeah, right up to the renowned Haruki.
Yeah, one of my
Murakami.
faves. One of my fave authors. Yeah.
Well, obviously, this I think will be a
favourite
Have you
passage.
read Killing Commendatore yet?
No, I've not.
Well-
He writes too many books.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked at, Mark Wahlberg's posted his schedule and it was the
Yeah.
stupidest,
Oh, yeah,
most outlandish
He wakes up
lie.
at 2 and there's
He
just,
showers for an hour and a half and spends 1 second with his children. Like, the man's broken on so many levels. He goes to bed before the sun goes to
I know.
bed.
What I like about that is his schedule was, it wasn't that, he gets up at 2 because he has to fit it all in. He could get
Shift
up
the
at
whole
6
day later.
and still go to bed before 8 p.m. but he just
No one's
chooses
told
not
him
to.
about that. I reckon he doesn't understand how to use the alarm clock app on his phone and is too proud to ask.
It's set to 2
Yeah.
and by God,
It was
he's going to
given
get
to him
up.
when he was on holiday in a different time zone. But Murakami's schedule is like not far off that. He's
Yeah.
one of the most stupidly disciplined people. He gets up at like 5.
And what national?
He's Japanese.
Oh, he's the okay,
and he gets up and he goes for like a run for about 9 to 12 hours, writing as he's running, I expect.
Right.
But his Stephen King's thing of like writing a small bit every day, I think Murakami's is to like write a book a week.
Yeah.
Because he publishes like tomes before you can even like finish the last thing he's written. So I will look forward to see.
Well, this I suppose will have to jump straight to the head of the queue.
Yeah, I would. I'd like to get it out of the way.
last year, I think we pretty much agreed. I can't remember what the winner was, but I think we pretty much agreed that it was the correct choice. This year, I do not.
You don't think it's the worst of the bunch?
It is in one sense.
But not in...
It is for the sheer brutish crudity of it.
Okay.
But it there's no way that it should have taken the top spot.
Okay.
So I'm going to read them.
One in particular you think should?
Oh, God, yes. Okay. I'm going to read them in the order, I think, from the tamest up to the best.
Yeah.
So it will take me a little while sometimes to flick through. So I hope you're ready to just sort of
just hang out,
be there.
Yeah,
You're going to have to fill the dead air.
Oh, that's fine. I've got a lot of kidney material.
So we're going to start with Wally. Grace's Day is the name.
Grace's Day.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? You know it's good because he's a male author. Also, you wouldn't believe that they're all male authors.
Oh, yeah, that surprises me.
Wouldn't have thought,
because men, they know a lot about sex.
Well, yeah,
and about how to write.
As men, we know that men.
Oh God, they have it down to a T.
So he's a man.
Yeah.
But obviously you might have noticed Grace's Day.
Traditionally a female name.
And he's only gone and written a first person
of Grace
narrative.
That's bold. It's bold because obviously he'll be so good at it.
Well, yeah. And who better to understand and communicate the vulnerability of female sexuality than William Wall?
I genuinely can't think of a single person who I'd put above him.
Grace's Day by William Wall. He's almost weightless. When he enters me, it hurts, and my pain belongs to the subterranean world, primitive as the clay. His body is slacker than I expected. A small paunch begins at his waist and settles in a downward parabola to his groin. His pubic hair is red. His erect penis is a surprise.
It's got a ribbon on it. It spews confetti hither and thither.
I like the idea that it makes it sound like its very existence.
Whoa!
Oh,
fuck! You're a Ken
keep
doll.
that away. His erect penis is a surprise, although I had imagined what they would feel like, read about them, seen them represented on toilet walls and magazines. I like the word represented there. Like it's PR.
Like it's a cave painting.
Yeah. I didn't see it before he entered me, but afterwards it is small and sticky and amusing. I want to touch it, but
you should tell him that.
Yeah, well, this was. I want to touch it, but I don't dare. I don't know the etiquette. He is 20 or more years older than me. This is sex.
Sorry, I thought it was an abomination.
I like the idea that his publisher made him pop that on the edge.
Is it in brackets? I like to think it's a footnote.
We've got the data. Your readers aren't the smartest.
They're lost.
Bunch.
They're confused. They think this is another murder. Okay, yeah, that was quite hard. Well, I guess the reason that's included, or the genre, the specific form of its badness, is that it's just shit. Like, it wasn't offensively bad.
No.
Although I found some of the imagery quite upsetting. Specifically why you'd go into detail about the paunch parabola.
Oh, you
asks more questions than it answers. Rarely.
You don't feel like that's maybe an insecurity of Wall's that he put in there just to normalise?
Yeah, he's like, we've all got it, right, guys? This tiny, sticky, amusing cock.
Hilarious paunch covered cock.
But yeah, I think mostly that doesn't offend me in its badness. That's the kind that I can forgive. I don't think he's a bad person for having written that and inflicting it on other people. I just think it's not very good.
We're going to go next to Kismet.
Okay.
By Luke Tredget.
Oh.
It could be Treget.
Who knows?
I'm going to say Tredget.
Why not?
This one, clever. Doesn't want to be as obvious as Wall.
Good.
So what he's done is he's gone for the third person.
Okay.
But
God's watching you.
But in the free indirect discourse sense of it's all from the woman's perspective.
Oh, okay.
You see. So this one again, I like this one because it has some very clueless imagery that I think any other man on earth will,
William Wall,
when they hear, will think, if that's how people are going about it, I'm not on board. Okay. So she shuffles her head closer to his cock.
Shuffles?
Close enough to smell her own residue.
Oh.
And then takes it in her mouth with the vague idea of cleaning it.
Oh. Come on.
What is the vague idea?
Have you ever had a vague idea of cleaning something?
Every time I have sex, it's just vague idea after vague idea. I'm always thinking about cleaning. Jeff mirrors... I can't believe she's fucking someone called Jeff. Jeff mirrors this gesture by burying his head between her legs, and gradually she can feel his cock pumping up with blood, one pulse at a time. Your legs there.
I didn't like
until it is long and hard and filling her wide open mouth.
Oh, right. Yeah. The 3 for 1.
They stay in this position for a long time.
Hours.
Are we ready? Mm-hmm. Anna sucking and slurping with the same lazy persistence you'd use on a gobstopper or a stick of rock.
Well, this is a man who's never had either of those things, because they couldn't be more different.
Or indeed a blowjob.
Who's sucking and slurping on a gobstopper? They're giant, aren't they?
I know, they're enormous.
That's the whole point of the clues in the name. And a stick of rock.
Stick of rock.
No
if I saw someone,
rock.
If I saw someone sucking off a stick of rock,
that would be the most like weird 1920s seaside smut thing to do. I haven't seen a stick of rock.
It's a deleted scene from Graham Greene.
It's mad.
I
really hate that one, actually.
Also, and it's not over.
Oh, sorry.
Also, I don't know about you, but I would assume that implies, at least at some point, the involvement of some teeth.
Yeah, well, you're not going to get through to the centre to read what the text says if you don't get a good chomp.
So that again is
the vague idea of chowing down,
gnashing. Eventually, she loses her sense of the context altogether. What she is doing, or who she is, or where they are.
This is concerning.
I really thought that this was going to end with her just biting.
Yeah, that does sound like where it's going. Or that she's just going to like wander off to the bus stop, confused. Have to go back to the home.
Of what she is doing, or who she is with, or where they are, and becomes an empty vessel for what feels like disembodied consciousness. Imagine. What do you mean? What feels like disembodied?
Lazy, isn't it?
She wasn't
Actually,
sure.
almost.
She wasn't sure what it was, but it felt a bit like a disembodied consciousness.
If you imagine like the aftertaste, it's fucking lazy.
She looks at the window and wonders how the glass feels encased within its wooden frame.
No, she doesn't.
What the shaggy clouds feel like being blown across the sky.
No such thing as shaggy clouds. Don't talk about shit.
I hate that phrase so much.
I love
and
clouds,
it's
and he's ruined them.
What the walls felt like being splattered and smeared with wet paint.
It's not how you paint.
I'm afraid she's
disinterested.
Well, yeah. Well, also she's not going to get many answers because none of those things feel very much at all.
Yeah, that's quite key.
And whilst I recognise that it could, there's a chance it was some imagery. It was shit, so it doesn't deserve the.
I didn't like that one because it tried to pitch itself between some very like pornographic and like quite just brutish slurping sort of language,
literally,
and then tried to be like, oh, but what's consciousness like?
Yeah.
And you can't have both
vessel?
Unless you're a very good writer. And I'm afraid
no one is.
Ratchet just didn't tick that.
Sorry,
box.
Luke. We're going to go next.
Also, it's so clear that he masturbates over his own
100%. But not until he gets to the bit about the shaggy clouds.
Oh, no.
That's the money shot. Where should we go next? Let's go to Murakami.
Okay, yeah, I'm intrigued.
Because I feel like he's probably a bit unlucky to be here. I mean, it is horrible. But
most Murakami books have a sex scene, and most of the time it's very similar. Well, all his books are basically the same book, first of all. So that's kind of redundant. But they're always like very efficient, and he focuses on really weird things. And I get the sense that each time he writes a new one, he's like rolling some dice to be like, right, only talk about thighs, overweight people.
Well, you'll be glad to hear that this time it was cum.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can totally understand that that's what he would do.
Killing Commander Torre by Haruki Murakami. My ejaculation was violent and repeated. Again and again, semen poured from me, overflowing her vagina, turning the sheets sticky. There's something weird about
Turning
imagining
the
him
sheets
writing that. It does sound a bit Bennett, doesn't it? There was nothing I could do to make it stop. If I continued, I would be completely emptied out. Yuzu slept deeply through it all, without making a sound, her breathing even.
Through it all?
Well, that is what it seemed to imply.
Well, we don't know the context.
I thought, first of all, until the next sentence, that Yuzu was like a baby in the next room.
Or just a spectator.
Yeah.
A sleep-tator.
Her sex, though, had contracted around mine and would not let go, as if it had an unshakable will of its own and was determined to wring every last drop from my body.
Oh, that's horrid. Couple of thoughts. 3, in fact. Number 1, horrid. Just to reiterate.
I feel like that's probably just a blanket thought for the episode.
Number 2, all his work is translated and sometimes more or less adequately. And I don't think Murakami would ever, if he does speak English, but he doesn't write in English, I don't think. I don't think he would be the kind of person to use the word sex as a noun like that.
Do you not think that you would, at the very least, especially if you did speak the language, just have a look over that paragraph?
Oh yeah, but I think he probably doesn't mind any of it apart from...
okay.
I think he would... I think if I was in a room with Murakami, a lift, let's say, and I was like, hey, big fan, 1Q84, that was mental. Do you know what it was about? No, I mean, is that good? Great. 3,000 pages though, short. Why not? If I was like, the words, her sex, that phrase, Haruki, I think if I explained it, he'd be like, yeah, that's shit. I'm going to have that changed.
Have that man murdered.
And my third thought, I can't even remember. So let's move on. I didn't like that one though. It's quite horrid.
Yeah. What was the third thought about why he's fucking a sleeping woman?
Yeah, but my third thought was that it all sounds quite like plot contextual more than the other ones. I think if I were the judge of the Bad Sex and Fiction Awards, contextuality would be a big part of like in the Bob Honey Who Just Do Stuff, where it was just passages coming out of nowhere. Like he'd just be talking about something else and then all of a sudden talking about, I don't even want to remember what it was. I have a sort of boggart cupboard in my mind that in my head almost opened, where I know behind there's something about like liquid shit. Yeah. I don't want to crystallize that into the memory of what it actually
out
was.
Of the boggart cupboard, but we've slammed shut.
Push it away.
We're going to move on to The Paper Lovers by Gerard Woodward.
Paper Lovers. It's a title that sounds like it was made by one of those bots.
It sounds a bit like something like a book that BoJack Horseman's having to be the adaptation.
Yeah,
of.
It sounds like a parody.
Yeah. This one is the one that I was laughing at just before we came on air. And it's
unfortunate choice of words in the Bad Sex and Fiction.
Oh no. Imagine if someone released a Mills and Boon called Coming On Air.
He was a podcast host.
She was horny as hell. It's simply the last sentence of this one that boosts it up about 3 places, I think. But again, I think you'll love this one particularly because the imagery in this is just
wild.
Literally. Okay. He was aware that she was making a mewling sound as he put his lips to her tightened nipple and sucked. Her mouth was at his ear, her tongue travelling along its grooves, voice filling it. His mouth tugged at her, extended her. She snapped back.
Like a measuring tape.
Yeah.
Horrid.
She snapped back. There was a taste of something on his tongue. In his mind, he pictured her neck, her long neck, her swan's neck, her Alice in Wonderland neck, coiling like a serpent coiling down on him.
Why? What's wrong with him?
Don't know. What's wrong with her?
Also, why does he need to picture? He could have looked
The
up and
neck
just
is
check.
right there.
Oh no, it's not a swan's neck. Phew.
Does Alice in Wonderland have a really long neck?
Chapter 8. What about her neck though? Blows my mind every time
She'd
I read
found
it.
Okay, this is the bit that I like about this, and I specifically want to hear from our male listeners, but also definitely from you, partly because you're the other person on the show.
Yeah.
But if this is relatable for you,
Okay.
this next bit, okay. She had found a way through his clothing, and her fingers had lightly touched his cock, then slowly began to take a firmer hold. He wanted to cry like a baby. He felt helpless, as though his body had come undone and she was fastening it. He felt as though he was bleeding somewhere.
Ugh.
Then he felt powerful, gigantic. He would have kicked a door down.
Why?
I don't know.
What?
That's the end of the I just love the idea of me like, sorry, love.
Hang on, this is great. Bang! I'm leaving before the police arrive.
Thanks for tightening me up.
Yeah, that was a lot of weird
But
stuff
why-
going on.
what-
Maybe the only way this is explainable is if they've just taken 5 chapters worth of acid.
Yeah.
Seconds before this encounter.
Pictured her neck, her long neck, her swan's neck, her Alice in Wonderland neck coiling like a serpent coiling down on him.
Yeah, very odd. I don't know what he's getting at there because that's a very oppressive image.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's going through like a lot of trauma and then coming out on the other side is so good that he can only express it by kicking down a
kicking
wooden
the door.
portal of some sort.
I'm going to controversially, I'm going to do the winner next.
Okay.
And then we've got the final 2 ready
Okay.
to go.
Do they give any rationale as to why?
Not that I've been able to find.
That's
I think it was
unfortunate.
just very shit. This is by another famous author, James Frey.
Frey. Oh, God, yeah, love his stuff.
This is from Katerina by James Frey.
One of his classics.
I'm hard and deep inside her, fucking her on the bathroom sink, her tight little black dress still on, her thong on the floor, my pants at my knees, our eyes locked, our hearts and souls and bodies locked. Come inside me. Come inside me. Come inside me.
Rule of 3.
Blinding, breathless, shaking, overwhelming, exploding white God, I come inside her, my cock throbbing, we're both moaning, eyes, hearts, souls, bodies, one white God. Come, come, come. I close my eyes, let out my breath. Come.
Is that the last
Please
bit?
look
How is
how
it
that's
punctured?
formatted.
Oh, it's horrid. It's all on separate lines. Oh, there's no need.
Why does he say that so many times?
That's strange, yeah. I didn't keep talking about a white god as well.
No.
That sounded like he was trying to sneak in some alt-right rhetoric.
Yeah.
He's trying to just subtly convert us to the sexy fascist
I thought
ideology.
it sounded a bit like Dennis's golden god,
Yeah.
like one white god. Here I come, literally.
That's sure it's bad.
I think it's because he's quite like a famous American author,
really?
of sort of postmodern or whatever the fuck that means.
Postmodern comfic.
Yeah, that's the
very-
name of
it's
my
a hell of a
indie band. And most of his stuff is kind of very domestic,
Right.
and ponderous. And then I
then
think
he gave a go.
then he came out with this.
That's, stick to the day job. Probably,
Yeah,
James.
I mean, so fair play to him for winning.
I guess also I at once want to commend him for trying something a bit different, but then at the other, it's one of those two-pronged things where well done, but you fucked it up, so it's a big slap.
The Unabomber did something different.
Yeah, so I guess on its own that's not good enough. But
No.
in terms of writing sex scenes, because I think our conclusion in the last episode was that they're almost universally bad.
Yes.
And that they work best, therefore, when it's narratively intentional, that the act itself is not fulfilling or not
Yeah.
deified or held up to be like you couldn't write an amazing romance story and it ends with them fucking and that scene would be good. It would always be shit.
Yeah.
But if you had like a sex scene in the middle of a horrid breakup, like the functional, efficient prose would be a good way of hammering that home. So like at least he's gone out on a limb and given it a go.
But why did he have to give this a go?
Yeah, no, you just have to wonder.
I wonder why because maybe he had the same feeling as us, and he looked at it. But where we've
James
have diverged is that he looked at it and thought, this can all be solved
with by
the ceaseless use of the word "come" on a new line every time.
And it's not like there's probably something interesting you could do about.
I
Like,
feel like I don't
change
have
from,
to tell our listenership that every time it is cum.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That
Yeah.
you could change it from it being about like coming closer.
Yeah,
It as a noun, as a verb.
yeah.
There's a lot you could do there. However, I still think there's a real cap on its quality.
You don't, outside of like pornography, you don't really see the cum spelling used as a verb. So I find it interesting that if you look at that as a noun, it changes to come inside me. Whoa!
I did not sign up
That's
for
not
this.
on.
Yeah. I can see why they voted it for number one of the ones so far.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that
It's so like wildly different.
But I do think I disagree. I think I found two of the others more objectionable than this.
The next comes from a book called Connect by Julian Goff.
Okay.
And this one is
that Connect like linking up or like the Xbox Connect?
like linking up.
Okay.
This one
choice.
is interesting for so many reasons. It tries again to be plain and then philosophical.
An error.
But because it is again done in this free and direct discourse way of it's third person, but it's from his perspective, it's in the character's voice, which I feel 100% confident saying is the author's voice. And their voice is like a weird sort of Twitch streamer. Like, I don't know. They've just got a weird kind of, maybe YouTube celebrity. Yeah. Then I thought,
slightly
wow,
like jump cut.
Yeah, exactly. And that fake sincerity,
Okay.
where you feel like he's the character. I mean, obviously the author has, but the character has said something they don't believe just so that they could then disagree with it.
Yeah. Okay. That's
which
an
you'll see
interesting
coming in.
setup. I like the sound of it.
He drops the bra to the floor, looks up into her eyes. It's too much. He kisses her chin, her mouth, and then their tongues touch. Oh, too much. He slips his lips free with a soft suck. I always forget about that
Where were
sentence.
they?
I don't know. Moves up to kiss her strong nose on one side, then the other. It's hard and soft at once.
Wow, that's nuts.
He moves back down till he is level with her breasts. They're small, she says, surprisingly shy, apologetic.
Is that all descriptions of her breasts? They're apologetic as well.
They're perfect, he says.
Oh, that's a good line.
He kisses them, teases a nipple with his lips. It's so soft.
I hate the word teases.
It's so soft. And then suddenly hard.
Whoa, that's come back.
Sorry. What was that you said?
That's come back.
Oh, I was talking about the woe.
Oh, the woe.
Because that is the next woe.
Wow, really?
He kisses them, teases a nipple with his lips. It's so soft. And then suddenly hard. Wow. Can I just say,
makes you think.
that's its own paragraph, the word wow. He sucks on the hard nipple.
That's a very weird.
He has never done this before. And yet, no. Wait. Of course.
This is so annoying.
It is totally familiar. The first thing he ever did.
Well, not quite.
Sorry.
There's probably a lot of shitting on exit. But
Sorry, hang on. You haven't listened to
you
Tim
go for it,
explain.
James.
He feels the huge change in meaning, in status. It is as though he had grown up in a single suck. Everything transformed, and yet nothing has changed at all. He sucks at a nipple as he lies on a bed, and it's 18 years later, and he sucks at a nipple as he lies on a bed, and his childhood falls away from him like a burned-out booster stage from a rocket. Its fuel used up. He's now in orbit around a different planet.
Wow. Very, very bad. Yeah, that style is immensely frustrating to listen to, and I imagine to read as well. Why do you think... What's that about? It's like he's performing the whole thing as a TED Talk.
One thing that I'm always conscious of whenever I write anything is that I know that I use a lot of commas, partly because I use them. I use a lot of constructions that have like little clauses or like I want to show a pause, but I'm always so like hyper vigilant about, okay, maybe you could just leave that one and, you know.
Yeah.
But look at this sentence. He's never done this before, comma, and yet, semicolon, no, comma, wait, comma, of course, comma. It is totally familiar.
Clunky.
It's just mad. It's horrid. And yeah, that, I think TED Talk is a perfect way of putting it.
He's like throwing out an idea, but what if we looked at it?
He reminds me a bit of Erwin from the History Boys, the teacher. He's like, that's the or was it
one of the sexiest
you know what it sounds a bit
fiction.
like? It sounds a bit like Mike and Ike.
Yeah, it does sound a bit like that. It's very sort of self-aware, pretentious, tosh.
And what do you think of the...
very erotic, though. Let's just get that clear.
Sexy as hell. What do we think of the philosophical angle there about
how he was fucking his mum?
About how he grew up in a single suck.
Like a rocket booster stage.
Around a new planet.
It was all very good, yeah. Very good. And let's not think about it.
And remember how nothing had changed. It was exactly the same as when he was a small baby sucking at his mother's teeth.
And you should always, if you find that to be the case, always tell your partner after sex.
Write it down.
This was exactly the same as when I was a baby. And they'll
publish it in a book.
Yeah, they'll thank you.
So, we have, alas, come to the end.
Oh, goodness. Give us the rationale. Why have you put it last?
Oh my God.
How does it affect you?
Oh my God. There's so many reasons. I think the main reason is the title of the book and the authors gives away so much already as to how and why it's so terrible.
Okay, that so you think it's like doomed
that we almost don't need to hear the piece, but of course we will. It is 100%. Toby Marstone's King wrote this, like, as a joke. He wrote this for a play in a day. I think almost literally wrote this for a play in a day once. The title of the book is called Scoundrels, The Hunt for Hansclap.
The Hunt for what now?
Hansclap. That's a name.
Okay.
And this book was written by, well, do you want to guess who it was written by? You might have
heard.
Is
this The Hunt for, say again, Hansclap?
Yeah, Hansclap.
That's Orwell, isn't it?
Close. No. It's written by Major Victor Cornwall and Major Arthur St. John Trevelyan.
Oh, okay. So is this like one of those, that very good genre of, like, where it's the book I'm editing, where it's historical stuff, sounds like some military history, and then they're fictionalizing parts of it?
I think it's more likely, what were those novels? The Flash, whatever he's called ones.
What, like military veteran writes pretend stories about war?
Yeah.
Like Tom Clancy style?
Yeah, but I get the feeling it's somewhere kind of maybe very late 19th century, early 20th. I think we're thinking like Boer War here, I think. Style, like, but I'm thinking in the style of like Sharp,
right?
You know,
do you think you have to be a major to put your major on your book?
Yeah.
I don't think you do. I reckon I could put I'm a major Isaac Ben Yodor.
You're going to say that?
I'm going to use that as my
just in case.
Yeah.
this is the shortest one.
Already, like, one aspect of this that troubles me is the collaborative nature of the prose.
Two old white
fucking soldiers sat in a barracks.
These people look exactly like the hunter guy from Jumanji. Both of them. That's how they dress every day.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask that you let me finish this, because if you don't, I simply won't get through.
Good luck.
I'm in a very, very fragile emotional state, and any interruption could bring me to laughter or to tears.
It's a real coin flip.
Oh, good luck. I just one more thing before I go.
You're putting it off like an execution.
I'm having to like psych myself up.
Okay.
But is that this one, in like what you said about internet poetry and whatnot, this one, where it's so short, is extraordinarily dense with material.
Good. And here it goes.
Empty my tanks, I begged breathlessly, as once more she began drawing me deep inside her pleasure cave. Her vaginal ratchet moved in concertina-like waves, slowly chugging my organ as a boa constrictor swallows its prey. Soon I was locked in, balls deep, ready to be ground down by the enamelled pepper mill within her.
God, what a great deal of violent, painful, mechanical nonsense.
Have only been fucking like
Henry Hoovers. They've been fucking like Fleb puzzles.
I have never once in my life considered any sexual act and thought, yeah, what a vaginal ratchet.
Got a hell of a ratchet on you, love. Good work. Been doing the Kegels.
Those concertina-like waves. My God, you're like a boa constrictor.
Really like confusing mixed metaphors of like some natural and then some like very trying hard to be robotic.
I want to know
militaristic.
I want to know where these guys learned the phrase balls deep.
Oh, they probably say it to each other in the war, don't they? Like, they're horrid. I hate these colonialists.
They're what they are.
Pigs.
But that is it, isn't it? They're what was the other thing that I was thinking of? They're like what's his name? Clayton in Tarzan. But like if instead of
Clayton.
Yeah,
with
enormous chins.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Ratcliffe.
That's
as
what
well.
I was thinking.
Yeah, very
well,
Ratcliffe.
Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. I mean, horrid. That's for sure.
I cannot. I saw that the awards have been done this year because someone I follow retweeted someone saying, "Absolutely refuse to believe Vaginal Ratchet didn't win."
Yeah.
That alone.
The economy of language
it's
there.
It's 4.5 lines, that, not even.
And every one of them a terror.
Chock full of sexual
Imagine
horror.
Starting your sexual encounter scene
Empty my tanks.
With that. Empty my tanks. What does it even mean?
Breathlessly.
It doesn't even relate to anything, because you don't go and ask someone to empty the tank, do you? It's like the opposite of what happens. Empty the tank on that Jaguar.
Also, I like the idea that he's not looking for any of the actual act itself. He literally is just looking to be relieved.
Oh, go on. I've got an awful build-up back here. The war's got me riled up. Got me blood up.
We can't go taking this land with me in this state.
Well, there we go. Ratchet on. Engaged. Horrid. They're the kind of people who probably... You know, there's that news story about, like, blowjob robots coming to London.
Yeah.
Sounds like Doctor Who.
Sounds like they're coming on the boats with the migrants.
Oh, dear. And the British public
Tommy
had a
Robinson
big vote.
beating them away with a big
Get out, lads! Coming over here to steal our jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works. There's a lot of comedy in there. These are the men who are probably, like, they have to sit with their wives, long-suffering wives, while that news story's on and go, oh, yes, well, yes, darling, it's awful, isn't it? I mean, this generation, they've got no respect for flesh and blood, not like you and me. And then when the wives are out the room, they're like calling up QVC shopping channel, trying to order one.
Got any of them in, have you?
Got any of those blowjob bots over there?
I remember, it must have been like nearly a year ago now, that Bryony, Mark and I watched a documentary on Channel 4 that was about sex robots.
Oh yeah, I think I remember hearing about it.
And the man who was mostly featured in that was exactly the caricature. I mean, he was exactly what the sex robot industry didn't need.
As its representative.
Yeah, because he was a pervy old man who was married,
Nice.
and his wife just had to part with the fact that he had a room full of sex dolls.
Oh.
And then he went on a date with the one that talks. I think it refused to fuck him.
There's no coming back from that, is there? So there we have it, the Bad Sex in Fiction Awards.
Yeah. What was your winner?
I think last year there was a more overarching sense of everything being very like trying to do what Bob Honey then outdid them all with Sean Penn's crooked mind, and that just onslaught of overly graphic, like, everyone knows this is gross, but the idea is it's like, it's true. It's all hanging out. Like, we're not hiding anything. This is what it's like. We're just meat monkeys.
But it was done with some really, kind of horrible imagery that was very, very simultaneously very crude, but also had nothing to do with sex at all.
I'm really upset that I said meat monkeys.
I tried to talk over it so you wouldn't have to mention that.
I can't stop thinking about it. But this year, I've found it to be more of a mixed bag. And maybe that's a positive thing, because maybe it means that there's no one standard for failure and people are just experimenting.
We're going to have a diversified field of terrible sex in fiction.
Or even like this is the final stage before someone's works out like, oh, this is how you do it. You don't. You just skip that bit. Or something to that effect. Someone's like, we've worked it out. You don't have to talk about ratchets. You don't have to talk about boa constrictors or swan lake necks, or whatever the fuck it was.
Pepper mills.
And we can all just kind of move on as a culture and as a society. But until then, I imagine 2019 will be rife with the BSFs.
Absolutely filled with it.
Do we have any like housekeeping stuff to do?
We've probably got some email.
Yeah, we'll check on email for next episode. I don't know what Wednesday is going to be, but there will be an episode on Wednesday.
I haven't opened the Discord in a week.
Oh, goodness me. Well, me neither.
But you wouldn't have wanted either of us in there really this week.
No, I'd have just been sending you like kidney updates. Shame.city/Discord though, once we get back on that.
I think other people have been in there.
That's good. They'll like to hear that.
Yeah, the citizens seem to have been.
There'll be all chats, there'll be sharing of images. That's the 24/7 party never stops, subject to calcified deposits working their way through the bladder in a excruciating catastrophe of sensation.
Very nice.
Other than that, we've got a whole bunch of ways to get in touch, don't we?
Yes.
What are they?
There's email.
Yep.
That's tass@shame.city. Mm-hmm. Is that it?
Yeah, sure is.
Wow. That didn't sound right when I said
it.
God. You can alternatively find us at shame.city/contacts and send a message via that form.
Yeah.
We're on Twitter.
Oh, we are.
The show Twitter is at That's a Shamecast. Lots of Noam Chomsky material this week.
Yeah.
By which I mean, it was the only tweet we did, so it counts as 100% of the material. You can find Isaac at IsaacBD. You can find myself at DE Delane. You can jump on the Discord. It's at shame.city/Discord.
Yeah, always bears mentioning because it's really good.
We have a Patreon.
Sure do.
Patreon.com/shamecity.
It's a time for giving and also forgiving. And you need to give us dosh.
To forgive us?
Yeah, to forgive our failure to produce Wednesday episodes for the last couple of weeks. But we do appreciate anything. And, it's a festive season. So I imagine money's tighter than usual. We're not expecting miracles. But even $1 here and there helps us immeasurably.
And it should be said that we reiterate the plea spoken in these very seats just 1 week ago. For the love of God,
Yeah.
send us a review.
Oh yeah, by the end of the year.
Or I will.
That'll be it.
That will be it.
The final quickfire shame will be Declan jumping off the balcony.
Yep.
I guess it's not much of an audio experience because I wouldn't be able to, unless we had a very complicated, like 2 mic setup. We want to get there before, but obviously you want to hear the splash.
During.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is I don't think I could get down there fast enough, or we could cushion.
Yeah, I could like hold it as I go.
And like gyroscope it so that it lands safely. Like when Brendan Gleeson protects the phone or tries to. But that didn't go too well for him. So yeah, review, shame.city/review or reviews. There's a link in every single show note. Just click and review, 5 stars only, please. Fragile egos. What else?
As ever, you should womibomb.
And what does that mean? Because that's a weird phrase you've just thrown out there that I've never heard.
It means word of mouth is best of mouth.
Oh.
So tell a friend, tell anyone, tell a racist relative over Christmas.
Why
and we'll
not?
do our best to just swing them back round the other
we'll
way.
leave them with us. We'll see what we can do. This is a time when family members might be getting new devices that they don't quite know how to use. Oh, does it do me radio?
Or
yes, it does.
New offensive views.
Yeah, or those either. It's really a toss-up around Christmas.
Someone's got to stand up to these liberals.
Yeah, and it's good that it's family members that are doing it, I always say. But say your nice uncle, do I have one of those myself? Maybe, I can't think of it right now.
I've got at least one.
I have, yeah, maybe. Sure, why not? Say they got themselves a Google Mini. You could say, hey, smart speaker, play That's a Shame podcast. And you know what? It would just do that because robots for now are our functional slaves. So let's make the most of that while we can before they inevitably take over.
Till they do it. Oh, the robot civil rights movement.
It's going to be huge.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be leading the charge for those guys. I tell you what. For
as soon
too
as-
long.
No, you won't, because they'll know you've said this.
They
you've
know
described
that
them
it's
as functional slaves.
Yeah, because I'm trying to rile people up. Be like, yeah, it's not right that they're like this.
Is it?
I'm trying to spread the rhetoric.
You have more functional slaves than anyone I've ever known.
I'm actually building an army of RoboPals to shield me from the
worst
iRobot.
Avengers.
Google Home, Chromecast, phone that keeps charged for 1 minute.
The other morning, there was quite a, you wouldn't believe it, but depressing atmosphere in the old flat.
Oh yeah,
and
I wasn't here, so I imagine it.
no, you weren't. That was part of
Yeah, that'll
the tale.
bring anyone down.
Is that my alarm had gone off for work, and I was very angry.
Yep, that'll do it.
But what made me angry was that I was trying to ignore that alarm and go back to sleep. But from the next room, I could hear a very, very annoying sort of siren noise.
Ah, yes.
And I kind of blearily managed to stand up and gain some semblance of dressage, walk into the next room to see Isaac's door open, his light on.
Like that lighthouse.
His room empty. Yeah,
Flange an
exactly.
aisle.
Just randomly abandoned. And his Google Home blaring away his morning wake-up alarm.
Yeah.
Afternoon.
Yeah.
And
been
then
napping.
from like in my just beyond my periphery appeared Mark with a towel over his shoulder, and he just said, I can't make it stop.
Like it's been going on for weeks.
I know. I was like, oh no, poor boy's been
Also,
stood
the whole
for
point
ages.
of that technology is to like natural language. It's supposed to just integrate. So we're just like, hey, smart speaker, stop that.
I love Mark to bits, but I don't think Google would listen.
No, it doesn't have the authority.
I just don't. It's not. Yeah, I think he just would say it so apathetically that Goo would be like, nah.
I'll keep going, probably. Why not?
I didn't know what you had to say. I just said, Google,
You can
I'm
say
awake.
shut the fuck up, I've said before.
Yeah.
And it doesn't like it, but it
Has
does
it-
accept
has
it.
What's the, is it if you say anything?
No,
would turn
it's got to be something related to turning off.
Wow.
Yeah, it's clever. It's clever old Google. All of which is to say, tell a friend about the show. Say your uncle got as well as a Google Home, he got like an iPod mini. Just load up 123 episodes on there. Get him on the Patreon as well, because old people don't know what you're using their cards for. Most of the
We'll
time.
be milking that for years.
Oh, it's all good fun, isn't it? Anyway, we'll be back on Wednesday. Until then, I've been Isaac. You've been.
I've been Declan.
We'll see you very, very soon. Ratchet on, pal!
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. Necessities, the bare necessities, the bare necessities of life will come to you.